Hello, Summer of Learning students. I'm Mr. Robert, and I'm here for some summer math. Today we're going to do an activity called Pattern Block Sunflowers. You'll need your pattern blocks, your packet, and a pencil. Let's get started. I made a sunflower out of pattern blocks. Now I want to make a lot of them. Here's a chart to help me figure out how many of each kind of pattern block I will need. Here's my first sunflower, and to make this one sunflower, I used one yellow hexagon right there. The chart says I used 2 red trapezoids, 1, 2. I used 3 blue rhombuses, 1, 2, 3. And I used 6 green triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your job is going to be to complete the rest of this chart. How many hexagons, trapezoids, rhombuses, and green triangles will you use to make 2 sunflowers? You'll fill out that part here. Now, some of you may already have an idea of how many of each of those pattern blocks you'll use to make 2 sunflowers, but if you need to construct another sunflower, you can do that just like I did. So now I have my 2 pattern block sunflowers built, and now all I need to do is record, okay, how many yellow hexagons, red trapezoids, blue rhombuses, and green triangles did I use to make 2 sunflowers? And then you'll continue working on this chart. If you make 3 sunflowers, how many hexagons, trapezoids, rhombuses, and green triangles will you use? You can either do it by building a third sunflower, or if you're starting to see a pattern start to emerge, you may not need to build that sunflower. How many of the pattern blocks will you use to make 4 sunflowers and 5 sunflowers, 10 sunflowers, and 15 sunflowers? It's your turn. If you'd like, you can pause the video, do some work on your own, and then come back to the video when you are done working. After constructing my 2 pattern block sunflowers, I was able to fill out the chart and note that I had used 2 hexagons, 4 trapezoids, 6 rhombuses, and 12 triangles to make those 2 pattern block sunflowers. So then it was time to go on to 3 sunflowers. And when I made 3 sunflowers, I was able to fill out the chart by noting that I used 3 hexagons, 6 trapezoids, 9 rhombuses, and 18 triangles to make all 3 pattern block sunflowers. Now I had to stop here on making pattern block sunflowers because I ran out of green triangles. So I can't construct them anymore. I have to start to see if I can find a pattern that is emerging in my chart. Well, I notice as I look down each column, this column that starts with a 1, I notice 1, 2, 3. This column that starts with a 2, I notice 2, 4, 6. This column that starts with a 3, I notice 3, 6, 9. And this column that starts with a 6, I notice 6, 12, 18. What do you notice about those columns? I notice that there's some skip counting going on. Here we are counting by 1s. In this column, we're counting by 2s. In this column, we're counting by 3s. And in this column, we're counting by 6s. So I can use that pattern right there to continue down here to this black line, this solid black line. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then counting by 2s here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Counting by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And counting by sixes, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. Therefore, I know that when I make 5 pattern block sunflowers, I will use 5 hexagons, 10 trapezoids, 15 rhombuses, and 30 triangles. It's a good thing I saw a pattern emerge because I don't have nearly that many pattern blocks. So then the next task was to figure out how many of the pattern blocks we would use to make 10 and 15 pattern block sunflowers. Here are the answers I got. Lots of ways you could have figured this out. Maybe you used multiplication. Maybe you used skip counting. Maybe you did some repeated addition. Maybe you had enough pattern blocks where you could physically make 15 pattern block sunflowers. Doesn't matter how you got these answers, lots of different ways to figure it out. You know how I did it? I used multiplication. I started noticing that 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 3 is 12, and 5 times 6 is 30. So then I just used some multiplication. 10 times 2 is 20. 10 times 6 is 60. Now, 15 times tables might be a little bit more tricky, so you might have to do repeated addition for that. So 15, adding 15 2 times, 15 plus 15 equals 30. 15 added 3 times, 15 plus 15 plus 15 equals 45. And then 15 added 6 times, or 6 times 15 equals 90. Lots of different ways for you to figure this out. Now it's your turn to make a sunflower. Design it however you like. Your sunflower could look like this, or your sunflower could look like this, or it could look completely different. But once you've designed your sunflower, record how many hexagons, trapezoids, rhombuses, and triangles you needed for that one sunflower, and then complete the chart by figuring out how many of each block it would take to build 2, 3, 4, and 5 sunflowers. And then what about 10 and 15 sunflowers? Have fun. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.